today's video, I'm going to be discussing how I'm able to balance a full-time work schedule as well as full-time school and everything else I'm dealing with my life. Currently, I am a full-time diesel mechanic. I'm an apprentice still, which makes it even harder because I have schooling hours I have to hit. I have to stay late to learn things, and I want to be the best mechanic I can, so I'm putting extra effort in more than 40 hours, probably more like 50 hours I'm giving every week to this profession, and I'm also doing full-time school. So let me break it down. For my job, I have time allotted from when I leave for work to when I get home. And usually when I leave for work is 12, so noon. And usually when I get home is 9:30 to 10 to 11, right? So noon to 11, hopefully max. Like tonight I didn't get home till 11:30. But usually I'm home by 10. So I allot 12 to 10 is usually work, right? And my job is very physically demanding, so it helps with, I'm not just sitting at a desk all day and whittling away at a computer. It makes it a little bit easier. I'm always learning, I'm always critically thinking, I'm always on my feet. There's always hands-on work. I always have to put out fires. So it's very hands-on and demanding, which also keeps my brain running, which helps me keep running, right? So it's not your typical 9 to 5, but I'm cranking out probably 45 to 50 hours a week to this job. And then for school, I usually allot 9 to 11:30 for school, like for class time. If I can, obviously schedules change. For the past 2 quarters, I've had 9 to 11:30 classes, and then I usually have one full-time in-person class, one hybrid, and then I try to do one asynchronous, but they're all max credit classes. But usually how I run my day is I'll have 8 a.m. I wake up, I try to get as much schooling done as possible, and then I have class 9 to 11:30, and honestly, if it's like a lecture hall type thing, I'm doing homework in that class. I'm doing homework, I'm doing as much studying as I can, unless it's like a group assignment or I'm forced to do something else. I'm usually studying, and I'm not saying I'm good at multitasking. I'm able to do two things at once, I guess. Sure, multitasking. I'm able to and it's not like proficiently, but I can kind of hear the professor and what they're doing on the whiteboard and peek up every minute or so and see what they're doing and try to stay on task as well as complete my other work, right? I try to do that, and then I try, on days I have class, I try to squeeze in the gym. I try to squeeze in the gym from like 11:30 to 12:15, because 12:15 on the dot is when I need to leave for work. And then I work from 12:15 until 9:30ish, home hopefully by 10, and then I'm wrapping up dinner and then going to bed, right? So that's just my full routine out of the way. That's how much time it allots, which is a lot. My whole day is busy, which is good. That's the way I like it. It keeps me running, keeps me functional, keeps me excited for the next day, right? Which brings me into my next topic, which is like, how do I find the motivation to do all this? So there are a few distinct things that keep my motivation high. One is being the best man I can, in hopes of being a very good future husband and father, right? And just person in general. I believe your early 20s are character development years where you can become the strongest and best version of yourself in order to pave the way for the rest of your life, right? So I think these early years are critical, and I've said this in previous videos, my 5 pillars, my 5 building blocks for my 20s. You should watch that video. It kind of explains it all. But yeah, for the motivation for my work, basically I wanted a job that keeps my brain moving, but shows me how to critically think and problem solve. Because I realized one of my strong suit is that if you gave me a job, like a sales job or something, which I had at my previous job, I can crank out the work. If you give me a job where I'm just a gear and a cog, I do amazing work. But when it came to problem solving and when I couldn't see the solution right in front of me, I just gave up. And it was very much an egotistical thing. It was very much that if I can't see the answer right now, there is no answer, which is stupid because you don't know a lot of things. So I needed to have that realization and have that humbling experience, right? So that's what this job does for me, and it helps build that character development And also, it's just hard, dirty work. I'm at a composting facility in mud all day, crawling under muddy loaders, and in mud all day, and in dirt all day, and having dust in my eyes. And it's dirty, gruesome work. But I think it's part of the character development. It makes me appreciate where my white collar job in the future will take me. It will make me appreciate the value of a dollar and how hard you have to work for a dollar. It makes me appreciate how hard my dad has worked for me his whole life. Um, so it makes me appreciate a lot of things, and I think it's essential for my character development. In terms of school, school is not for everyone. I agree, but I'm also not one of these gurus who tells you not to go to school. I think if you have nothing, like gurus will say, well, if you have nothing that you want to do in school, don't waste money going to school. And there are circumstances where I agree. If you're passionate about something and school gets in your way and you honestly can't see yourself doing anything, then maybe sure. Maybe don't put tens of thousands of dollars into it. But if there's nothing you're passionate about, you can't figure out what you want to do, you have nothing that you're swaying towards or pulling you, having a good education is going to get you more doors opened. So there's no, well, I'm going to be the next something, but I don't know what it is, and I'm not motivated, and I have no skills, and I'm not passionate about anything, but, I'm not going to become one of those people who just goes to school. Well, then you're just a loser. So you need to pick something, right? And the way I thought about it is I want a bachelor's and maybe a master's, depending on how quickly I can build up my wealth. Nothing bad can come from having a bachelor's degree, right? Worst case, okay, I'm down a couple tens of thousands of dollars, but I have more doors opened. I picked a general bachelor's, nothing specific or niche-y. It was business management and technology, so it covers business management, but also covers the technology side for ever integrating technology into all industries. So I felt like that was a good pick. I think that school helps sharpen your brain consistently, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree. The longer you take off school, you realize the more it slips, right? So it's important to understand that if you don't do it now and you regret it, it's going to be 10 times harder when you're older. I personally saw this in my mother. My mother has been trying to get her degree for a while, and she had me at 16 years old. So being able to do that has been a challenge for her because she's had kids basically her whole life, right? Even when she was a kid. So I've watched that struggle, and I very much understand the importance of just getting my education out of the way. Yeah, sure, you can say it's bullshit. Yeah, sure, you can say it's a waste of time, but just get it done. It's a bachelor's. What bad can happen from having a bachelor's degree in a general field that will make you more hireable? Because the way you need to understand about school is not that, oh, what am I going to use this for? Because, I was one of those kids. What am I going to use geometry for in my day-to-day life? Actually, as a mechanic, I use it more than anyone, probably ever. But it's not about what you need it for. It's you show employers that you are willing to do work, unpaid work that you don't want to do, but you're still doing it. And if you have good grades, you're showing them that you the good grades enough to get a degree. You're showing them that you put in enough effort to learn a topic you didn't care about, to become knowledgeable in that topic, and be able to pass a test or an exam, or show that you have knowledge in that area, right? And what that shows employers is you're able to study something that you might be being hired to do, that you can become knowledgeable in it, and you can apply it to make them more money. That's the way I see it. So I wish I knew that more in high school. I would have gotten better grades, but I didn't, so here we are. I see very much that as long as I keep my discipline and I keep putting school a top priority, as well as doing as much as I can for my job, and sometimes it's the bare minimum 40 hours, but a lot of employers, especially I notice at blue-collar jobs, because I don't know why, I'm just noticing that with my job, when I'm putting in the effort to get a higher education, but I'm also putting in the time to work a really hard, physically demanding job, people appreciate it. So that's just something I've noticed. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I just wanted to discuss, one, how I'm able to balance a full-time job and full-time school, the motivations for it. So the balancing, it just comes down to prioritizing your day right, getting rid of the shit. Notice, and nowhere in there did I say I hang out with friends. Nowhere in there did I say I go to the bars and drink. Nowhere in there did I say I play video games all the time. Nowhere in there did I say I sit down and watch Netflix at the end of the night, which I do. But nowhere in there is that my priority list. My priority is to wake up early, study, try to get to class, get as much work done, try to fit in the gym if I can. But I'm healthy, I have a good base, I've been working out for a while, so I'm more maintaining as long as I eat healthy. I'm kind of keeping my muscle mass. And then I work a full-time job, and then I get home, and if I have to study more, I do, but hopefully if I don't, I can eat dinner and relax with my partner and go to sleep, and then I repeat, right? Honestly, you'd find that if you work that hard, there are actually more let me put it this way. When you're always seeking time to do better, or you're always seeking time to do more and push out more and become more efficient, you realize you have a lot more time than you think, right? So I honestly, when I did a full-time job at first, I was like, well, this isn't that hard. Granted, I don't have kids. Granted, I don't have a wife. Granted, I don't have a household that I have to keep paying down fully by myself. I pay for everything else myself, but it's not the same. I get it. However, if you are early 20s, a full-time job doesn't take up your whole life. It takes up 9 hours of your day if it's just a 9 to 5. And if you're awake 16 hours of the day, you have a lot more time than you think on your hands. So keep that in mind. And the motivation is just, what do you want out of this life? For me, I want to become the best version of myself as I can, so that way I can become a good husband and father and hopefully leader of my family. And that takes dedication and effort, and you have to take pride in that. And what I understand that means to me is I have to build and instill good habits now and strengthen myself from the core now and build those building blocks in order to become a better person and pass it down, right? So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed.